Welcome to Travel Thoughtfully, the podcast, where we explore how travel can enrich our lives, expand our perspectives, and help us experience the world more intentionally. I'm Karen Hester, travel advisor and owner of Travel Thoughtfully. Today, we're talking about one of the most overlooked parts of travel planning: timing. Because when you travel, many things are affected: cost, crowds, weather, stress levels, flexibility, and even how connected you feel to the experience itself. Sometimes the difference between a stressful trip and a memorable one isn't the destination at all. Sometimes it's when and how you experience it. Many travelers automatically assume that peak season must be the best time to visit somewhere. And sometimes it is. There are destinations where certain seasons truly are magical. Holiday markets in Europe, cherry blossoms in Japan, safari migration seasons, or even New Year's Eve celebrations like the fireworks I experienced in Sydney, Australia at Darling Harbour. But peak season may also bring larger crowds, higher prices, longer waits, and less flexibility. And sometimes what travelers want actually is a slower, more relaxed experience. That's why the shoulder season can be such a sweet spot. Shoulder season is a period either before or after peak travel season. You may still have good weather, but with fewer crowds, lower pricing, better availability, and a more comfortable pace overall. And for retirees, empty nesters, or travelers with schedule flexibility, this can be a huge advantage. You're not limited by school calendars or holiday weekends. That flexibility opens up opportunities for a very different travel experience. But timing isn't just about when, during the year, you travel. It also affects how the trip unfolds once you're actually there. Flight timing matters. Connection timing matters. Arrival timing matters. For example, arriving in Europe early in the morning after an overnight flight may sound efficient, until exhaustion hits you halfway through the day. A short layover may seem manageable when booking, but feels very different if your first flight is delayed. And sometimes saving money on the perfect deal creates more stress than travelers expected. I've talked in earlier episodes about investing intentionally in the travel experience, and timing is a part of that too. Sometimes adding an extra day, a longer layover, or an overnight before a cruise departure can dramatically reduce stress and make the trip feel smoother from the beginning. Because thoughtful travel isn't just about where you go. It's also about creating enough space to actually enjoy the experience while you're there. And timing becomes even more important when you consider how much travel itself has changed over the past few years. Popular destinations are more crowded than people expected. Airports are busier, flights are fuller, and major events can impact an entire city's pricing and availability. I saw this firsthand during the Paris Olympics. There was incredible energy in the city, but also larger crowds, increased need of logistics, and much higher demand for accommodations and transportation. But this doesn't mean travelers should avoid major events or peak periods altogether. Sometimes those experiences are absolutely worth it. But understanding the timing realities help travelers make better decisions and set better expectations. Because when expectations and reality are aligned, travelers usually enjoy the experience more. I think one of the biggest lessons experienced travelers learn over time is this: timing shapes travel more than we often realize. not just timing of the year, but timing within the trip itself. And sometimes the most thoughtful travel decisions aren't the flashy ones. They're the quieter decisions. Choosing the less crowded season, building in breathing room, arriving a day earlier, or even giving yourself flexibility when plans change. Those choices may not look exciting on an itinerary, but they can completely change how a trip feels. Before we wrap up, I wanted to answer a question I received from someone planning an international trip. They asked, what's the best way to deal with jet lag when traveling overseas? Honestly, I don't think there's one perfect answer because everyone adjusts differently. But one thing many experienced travelers try to do is adapt to the destination's time zone as quickly as possible. That may mean sleeping on the plane. But even when you're at the destination, it may mean staying awake until local bedtime, going outside during the day when the sun is shining, and avoiding long naps immediately after arrival. One thing I personally try to do when traveling internationally is start adjusting mentally, and sometimes physically, to the new time zone before I arrive. When I traveled to Ireland, I tried to adapt to the local schedule as quickly as possible. Now, honestly, I'm one of those people who falls asleep before the plane even takes off. And then I wake up when food service starts. But on that flight, I leaned into that and tried to rest as much as I could. And when I landed that morning, even though I was tired and wanted to sleep, I dropped off my luggage and immediately went out to explore the city instead. Getting outside, walking around, staying on local time actually helped me adjust much better. And that's one of those smaller timing decisions travelers may not always think ahead of time. But it can really shape how you feel during those first couple of days. I think that part makes travel so interesting. Sometimes the experiences we remember most aren't just shaped by where we went, but by how we moved through the experience itself. The pace, the season, the energy, the choices we made along the way. And often, the more thoughtfully we approach those decisions, the more fully we are able to enjoy the journey itself. If you have any travel questions, trends, or experiences you'd like me to discuss in a future episode, I'd love to hear from you because some of my most favorite conversations came about just that way. Thanks for listening to Travel Thoughtfully, the podcast. At Travel Thoughtfully, our philosophy is simple. We plan, you experience. And next time, we're talking about some of the smaller travel decisions that can have a surprisingly big impact on your experience. From packing choices, to convenience, to the hidden trade-offs travelers face along the way. Because sometimes the smallest decisions shape a trip more than we expect. I'd love for you to join me.